So anyway, we wanted to focus on disc because we got a lot of questions from people that weren't sure about disc. They never got the big presentation like we did from Dr. Roan.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of not sure how to handle it and the benefits of it. And Eric and I were talking about it. And Eric did another video, which I'm going to post, which is more questions about how to how to do the disc, how to understand it, how to explain it. And I think part of it was a consistency thing with the guys, seeing it on a regular basis. So I want to let everybody know that you can go to previous lessons and play them over and over again. There's no problem with that at all. It's very easy when you're on the website. You just go to the videos. There's a history of videos there.
Mhm.
And actually, I don't have the tab right in front of me. I should take a look at it while I'm
Yeah.
here. And then they're all available to you, which
Mhm.
is very valuable. And you can go through those. And Eric has a video, two videos now, and this will be the third video on explaining disc. So Eric, why don't you get more into it? I'm just introducing it, but you have a better way of how can they grasp disc better? What would you
Well,
suggest?
let's back up a little bit, because let's think about when you and I first learned it from Dr. Rome. We were at a Howard Partridge conference and he told us, and you and I are so different people. We fought a lot and we're childhood friends basically. So it gave us license to fight more, and we were at a point in our business when you and I were fighting a lot because we were growing quickly and there was a lot of pressure. And then we saw Dr. Rome start talking about disc, and immediately we both recognized that the things that I was doing to you and the things that you were doing to me were not personal. It wasn't Eric being this way to Larry or Larry being this way. We kind of looked at each other, excuse me, and recognized this is just who we are. This is how we're wired, right? And that's the beauty of disc, is it can take the personal out of conflict. So you and I immediately went back to our team and started doing disc training, as with the rudimentary knowledge we had of it. And this is a key point to everybody that's a member. Not all of your guys are going to get on board very quickly. There's going to be a lot of guys with crossed arms saying in their head going, this is BS. Why do I need to learn about myself? Why do I need to learn about other people? Why can't I just go do my job? Don't get discouraged by that. That used to discourage me. And what it would do is it kind of depended on their disc profile, ironically. The guys who are more like C's, it takes them way longer to
They're
come
more
aboard,
stubborn. They grind their heels
because
in.
you got to prove to them that there's value, right?
Mhm.
So what you're going to do is you're going to have those early adopters. You're going to have a few people in your organization that are going to hop on and go, I totally see this. I see the value. I see how this can help me. And then they're hopefully out in the field going to drive the other guys to start doing it. But we had a manager who was he ended up being one of the best employees we ever had. At the beginning, he was really against it. He did not want to do any introspection. Excuse me. But what happened was he started seeing out in the field with the clients the lessons that we were talking about. And that's when the light bulb went on for him. And then once the light bulb went on for him and he saw value, he then brought all the guys that worked for him into the fold better. So my point to everybody listening, first and foremost, don't be discouraged if you bring this tool back and they're not immediately into it. George, we have George on, and George is a big disc proponent as well. Did you find the same thing, George, with your guys? When you came back you were at the same one we were at, did it take a while to get them to believe or to see value in it?
Well, most of the time it's the same people that always have this kind of reaction. I'm gonna say the high C's, a lot of the D's, they don't believe in this too much. And the only way that they can start to use it is when they test it, and when they start to figure it out that possible they have some kind of information that they didn't have before, and has some value. I tell you, is they go home, they start to do some exercise with their families without telling anybody what they are doing, because they don't want to get caught doing something that they don't believe about it. But as soon as they start to prove that this has some kind of really important information, and I personally live this because they come to me and they share it. They say, "Hey, you know that I'm not really involved in this, but let me tell you what happened." And they tell me a short story, and I say, "Wow, that's great." By the way, in the service industry, is proof that I prefer to don't have too many C's around. That's mean that when I have, in my business that is cleaning and restoration, my high C is the estimators. They are the high C people, and they were the last ones to come on board. But after years of talking about this, and has everybody's profile in my office, and to talk about this almost every single day, then when I say, "Hey, Mike, I know that you are high C and it's going to be hard for you to understand this, but let me explain you really well." Then you start to connect with them immediately. They don't want to tell you something different. It's because they're already there. That means that, yes, happen all day. And believe me, I like it when I do this for new people. I did my first class in Spanish. I get certified by Dr. Rom now in Spanish. I was certified for English like 2 years ago. But now I start to do it in Spanish, and I have my first class. Amazing, was amazing. I have 17 or 18 workers that their first language is Spanish, and it was a great thing. And every time that these people have this new product, it's like when you have your kids and you take it to Disney World and you show them something new, and they start to enjoy this because this is what it is.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that then, some of the benefits of becoming well-versed in DISC. I think the first one is better communication skills. I mean, that first and foremost, DISC is, yes, it's a self-awareness tool, but how it manifests itself is that it's a communication tool so that you understand how others think and communicate as well. And, I always talk to our team about DISC really happens in 3 phases. The first phase is your employee has to learn about themselves and become self-aware. They begin DISC when it's all about them, so that they start to realize through the lessons, these are my strengths and these are my weaknesses. And a lot of times it takes them time to own their weaknesses. They don't want to seem like they're not good at this, that, or the other. DISC exposes that for all of us, but when they realize that, well, yeah, I may be weak in these areas, but then I have all these other teammates that are strong in these areas, they start to use that out in the field. And that's what we're usually talking about. And Larry and I like to, once we understood DISC for that communication skills, we would send out teams of 2 where their DISC profiles were opposite from each other, because then no matter what the client's DISC profile was, we had one person on that truck that could communicate with that client well. So we would send out a people person with a task-oriented person. Mm-hmm. We'd send the fast-paced person with the more deliberate person.
That was the same thing with Eric and I. Sent out a people person, which was me.
Yeah.
And I'd be talking to these people. And I want to tease Eric all day long because he's technical savvy and he's not so much fun. But he would go and figure things out, and I'd just be making conversation. He'd go up and he'd tell them exactly what needs to be done. They'd like me, and then I'd have a relationship, and then boom, it was easy transition right there.
Yeah. So, I think that's the first phase is they get to know themselves and they own it. The second phase is they start recognizing other people's DISC profiles. They can see it. They walk into a room and a person approaches them, or they approach someone, and within a minute or 2, they can pretty closely know what that person is DISC-wise, right? So that's phase 2. I know myself, but I also can recognize others. Then the next thing, and then the last phase, which I think takes a lifetime, is not only recognizing somebody else's disc profile, but then being able to communicate with them on their terms. I always called it visiting them in their box. Like, I'm not an S. I'm the furthest thing from an S you could find. But if I went out on an estimate or I went to meet a customer and I realized quickly that they were an S, I could start changing my message to them based on what it is I know that they like and dislike. So if I'm on a flood job, we all do flood work, the people that are on here right now. If I go to CNS, well, what are they concerned about? Safety and security for them and their family. So now I'm going to cater that message to safety and security because that's the thing that they want addressed. They don't want to talk about the estimate or how many guys are coming. Like they want to know that they're safe. George, do you, in your restoration business, do you guys work on that? Like how to use it in the field?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something funny, and please don't laugh about me, but this is a true story. Is that my restoration guys, they fire me from the estimation work. We
fired Larry too.
They fire me. They say, is any way that you cannot go to do estimates anymore? And I was like, why? I think everybody love me. The customers are, George is here. I love him. And he's so cool. He explained us everything. Yeah, but at the end, I start to see that this lady is coming and she has 2 kids. She's by herself. She has a cat. And she doesn't have enough money. Then I do a lot of the work almost for nothing. Then that was me. Then, I just get to the office and I tell them, everything is great. I sold this job, and they say, oh, that's great. How much money you charge for this? Oh, I charge like 3,000. They told me, what in the world? what you just did? And I say, yeah, but poor lady and this. And then one day, I have my GM and my restoration supervisor, and I told them, look, I've been trying to put myself out of a lot of the boxes here. And they told me, why you don't put out of the box of the estimation? We fire you.
They eased you out.
And, and then I start to see that these guys start to bring $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 job. And I was like, getting my head. I say, what in the world? What are you doing? He say, we just do our work. This is how this works. And I say, okay, I don't want to be involved in this. I only get involved in this when we do work with people that know me, and they call me and they say, hey, George, any way that you can give us a discount or a special price? Then I go and I put my high eye and I help everybody. But yes, you're absolutely right. You think that everything is under control because you are the owner, and you are the one who has the power to take decisions, and you are the one who just has the power to do everything. And you find out that this is not 100% true. You need to have in your organizations people with different kind of blends. And then when everything is together, you will start to realize, oh, you get better there, you get better there. By the way, I have the best sales guy that they do estimation, and I have to train him in how to behave in front of customers, because he was really good doing sales, but he doesn't know how to have how to be close to the customer and has a kind word for them and tell them, I'm really sorry. What is the first thing that I do when I go? I was today in a house that completely flooded. Really sad news, because the guy is closing the sale June the 5th. You can imagine this guy his heart was broken. Everything was bad. And the first thing that I say when I came here, I came to his house, I say, I'm really sorry for what happened. I came here to help you. I don't gonna get rich here. I just wanna work with you. Tell me how you're gonna work and I help you out. Then this is not the same thing that the estimator gonna come, because he's gonna come and say, okay, don't worry, the insurance company gonna cover for this, and I'm gonna try to get all the money that we can to be sure that you get paid for this job, and you don't have to put money out. That means that it's a daily exercise, Eric. It's something that we do every single day, and we do it better because we know about it, you know?
Well, and what you just said, George, is perfect disc training right there. You're on the people side. So
Mhm.
you're going to go there and be empathetic and make sure that they feel comfortable and do all these things. But you may give away too much, do too much for free, forget to get the work authorization signed, whatever, right? Whereas then you said your estimator comes, and what is he talking about? He's talking about tasks.
Mhm.
I'm going to write you an estimate. I'm going to deal with the insurance company. I'm going to get us the most money we can to make sure you're okay. You know, it's finding, and Larry and I always did this at Shamrock. You know, we had a disc profile associated to every slot on the org chart. Like we would make sure that we are heavily testing each person who may come into our organization to make sure that their disc lines up with the job that they're going to do. You can't put the high I in accounting, usually.
Yes,
Just not a
absolutely.
good fit. But that high I out as a marketing rep, great fit, you know? So that's another thing. And, you know, George, you just talked about sales basically, and that was the next thing I wanted to talk about anyway. You know, in the home services businesses, a lot of guys always complain that their techs don't sell. You know, if you have a carpet cleaning business and you do add-on sales, like say fabric protection or something, I mean, we had the problem too. Guys, you know, they're an SC or a CS, and they don't love talking to the people. They love doing the work, and they're uncomfortable with the sales process. And once we honed in on the ideal carpet cleaner for us was an SC. S part was they like people. C part, they're detail oriented enough to clean. Okay. But both of those disc profiles don't really love to sell. They feel that they're imposing themselves on a client. So we had been disc training for a long time. Larry, your microphone's not on, by the way.
And they're afraid of rejection.
And we're afraid of rejection. Yeah. So, you know, what we did, we'd already been doing a lot of disc training like we do in Morning Tech Meeting. And all I had to do is reframe it that, you know, and Howard Partridge taught us this as well, that you're doing a disservice to that client if you don't offer this, that, or the other. Because if you don't offer those services, then somebody who might be unscrupulous or not good at their craft or whatever will come in and sell those things to that person. And then that person will have a worse experience than if you had done it yourself. So once we started talking in those terms of, well, how can we really help clients? How can we educate them? How can we speak to them in their language to make sure that they're using us, a reputable company that they already like? So I moved it from sales to educating. And then those SCs, once they say, okay, I care about people and I care about technical things. So if I speak to them of, I'm going to teach you what you need, or I believe that you need, and then why you need it. Well, we know that that's sales, but to them, that wasn't scary anymore. You know, they're not identifying as a sleazy salesperson at that point. So there, you got anything to add to that?
No, it was just you reframe the expectations to the disc personality type, and it makes it easier for them to grasp and to understand. You understand the different quadrants. There's only 4. It's not real complicated, and it goes a long way in the communication.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add about the sales, because you can see the opposite side. I'm working in the first, I'm gonna say 50 videos that you produce and talking about the ad sales. And one of the things that you see is the opposite side when somebody comes to your house or to your business to sell something, or not to sell, but to do a service. And sometimes they come to you and they tell you, they asked me to ask you for these things, but I really don't care. It's kind of a commitment that I have for sales, but you don't need it. How many times you have this? This is the opposite side, because now what I'm doing is I'm forcing my high S and C guy to do something that is for I guy. They don't feel confident doing this. They just want to go to the process really fast. They want to go home. They want to pick up the check and go to the next one. Yeah. What I use, because you know, one of my best technicians, he's in the area rock plant. He's with me for the last 13 years. And what I do for him is that I try to bring it to the eye doing sales, but it's with a lot of compliments that we do daily. Hey, Mike, did you bring yesterday 13 area rocks? Tell me how you did it. Oh, I just talked with the customer and I explained her that, you know, at the same time that we can clean it, we can do all these repairs and we can replace this and replace this. And the lady liked it. And I say, what's too hard? And I say, no, it's not. When we are in the customer house, they open the door for us already. We have to take advantage that we are there. Now, if you start to be pushy, this is not gonna be the reflect of the business owner. I don't like, possible you don't like either, to be pushy. We want is the customer to have all the information that they need to decide what they want to do. That means that with this, everything changed, you know?
Yeah, well, that's what, you know, it's a tool that works very well. And I don't know if you guys hit on it as much as we could have. The communication, the tool that they can use to communicate with the clients is something that prevents the owners from getting involved. Because if they can make that connection and they're better at it, the owner doesn't have to come in and help with things and dive in and put out fires or try and get the upsell completely sold or do all these other things, because the technician is so much more capable of, you know, understanding what the client really wants to know, being able to see that they need to slow down or they need to speed up, or if they need to stand up to the client if it's a D, or if they need to give more details if it's a C. And all of those things, it makes the technicians much more capable of being able to do their job that much better, that they have more of the skills that the owner has innately.
Yes. I think the clue here is that you know how to read people.
Yeah.
And not only is how to read the customers, now you know how to read the guy that is working in the restaurant. You know how to read him. You know what kind of person he is.
Yeah.
You know how, you know, it's funny. You watch TV and it's a program and somebody is acting some way. You say, oh, what a highest guy. Or oh my God, this like, this guy has to be a D.
Yeah.
Then you start to communicate. When I finish the classes, I always tell everybody who is there, I tell them, I have a good news and bad news. The good news is that you have something in your toolbox that's gonna help you tremendously, not only for work, but for life.
Yeah.
The bad thing is that now you're gonna invest or waste a lot of your time reading people that is nothing related with your business. You're gonna start to see your friends, the son of your neighbor. You're gonna start to say, "Oh, I know exactly what is these people. I understand what they are talking about," and then this is the way that you start to communicate better. Absolutely, I always believe that as soon as you knock the door of this house and somebody open the door, in 5 minutes, you know exactly what kind of person it is and what kind of service this person needs.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you start to provide the service, during the time, things can change. But at the same time, if you are prepared, if you have all the information, it's going to be so easy to perform a really good service for everybody, you know?
Yep, absolutely. Hey, we had Jamie jumped on the phone, another one of our clients. Jamie, how are you today? Whoop, you're on mute. Got to hit that button right in the middle. I think it's in the middle. There you go. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing real well.
Wonderful. It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
So we're going over, Jamie, you've been a member for a little while.
Yeah.
And you said that the lessons were benefiting your guys, and you have a plumbing shop, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And I spoke to you one time, and it was really nice to connect with you over the phone. We're talking about DISC right now. A real quick question. I'm going to throw this right at you as you stepped right in. I apologize. Have the DISC lessons been benefiting your guys? Have they been able to translate what they're learning from the lessons from Eric into dealing with the clients and themselves and with you and other people that are around them?
Well, the DISC is actually, the the only thing that I've ever done with Eric's lessons is the initial introduction to what DISC is all about.
Okay.
We're going through a thing with Howard Partridge currently right now. We recently, just a couple weeks ago, did a 4-hour DISC training with all of our guys to kind of go over the whole thing. They all took the test. They all came up with, and now they have a great understanding. And I'm going to tell you that it's now that they have a little bit of a better understanding. I plan to play some more of these of Eric's
The
morning
videos, lessons.
video. because these guys were just they were really excited about it. Actually, some of them wanted to take the ideas home, talk to their kids about, try to get their understanding from their kids and their wife and their relationship. And yeah, they're really interested. It was good.
Good. Yeah, because
Yeah.
George was saying in his business, George has a restoration business in Florida, and he's kind of like me. I was a high eye out in the field, and I was giving the boat away for a while, and then my team had to corral me in because I wanted to be friends with everybody, and I was hanging out. And that was a good story that you said, made me feel a little bit better about myself, George, because I was doing the same thing and I wasn't selling it's quite the price that I should have at the time. Jamie's up in San Francisco. We're right outside of San Francisco, San Jose.
San Jose. Yeah.
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 So that's good.
Larry,
Right.
and just the same as what you just said, I have a tendency to be a little too excited about things sometimes and not really charge the right price.
Yeah, you
Got a
want
bit-
everybody to be happy, you know?
I know it. I know it's not right.
Yeah. No.
Doesn't make
We had a couple of our guys, we had to be careful because they would be in the home, and you might have seen this, George, too, as well with your carpet cleaning. And the high eyes would just be talking and talking, and they'd be there for a small job, but they'd be there for
all the time.
hours.
Yes.
So what are you guys doing there so long? Oh, let me tell you what we talked about. And
yeah.
I would laugh because that would be me. But Eric's like, no, you can't stay there 1 hour extra unless you're going to be upselling them and then making a big difference out of the deal. But it would be the same thing with the C's because they would go and they'd be in and out real quick. I said, well, did you talk to Mrs. Jones about something else? Did you build a connection? No. Why would I do
No.
that? Well, because she's been a client with us for 10 years and she calls us 3 times a year. So you got to pay attention to her. And that's kind of why they call us out sometimes because we charge quite a bit of money. Yeah, I don't get it. Why would I hang out with her? And then you have to, that's where the disc would come in and they would get into understanding why they needed to spend time with them.
You know that that is funny that you say this because when I did the class a couple of weeks ago, I finished the class and I asked some of my workers, hey, you have any kind of questions about it? And then I have 2 ladies that they do cleaning, janitorial cleaning. And one of them, she said, can you explain me why this lady is talking all the time when we have to go to work? She stopped to talk with the customer. She stopped to talk with the dog. She go and check that everything is cool at the same time that we have to go to the next job. Then you realize that you have a high C person with a high I people working together in services. It is hard. It is hard. Now, if you have a customer that is really hard, I can imagine in plumbing that you're going to have a lot of customers that are really not easy to deal with. It's going to be good because at the same time that your high C is doing the job, the other high I is working like a bodyguard and taking care of the customer. And then you are like, hey, let me finish this fast. And the other guy is talking with them. Possible this combination going to work really well. But, you know, what's kind of nice to have the chance to explain to this person is, you know, you have your side is more dedicated to talk with people and to enjoy with people. You have something to do, then you have to do it right. Then it is kind of thing because you see it, you know, again, you see it almost every day. Every day you deal with this 25 times a day. This is how I see it. And again, as soon as you start to involve this, some people don't believe, some people believe, some people, they are really involved with this. then it's a great combination, because at the end, everybody's working for the same purpose,
Yeah. Well, and everybody can understand each other. And that was the aspect where the disc helps the team get along, and it's a cultural thing. I'm sure you saw, Jamie, when they started clicking with the disc, you guys probably got along a little bit better. They're like, oh, yeah, you're not so much of an asshole after all. Or, that's what I thought when I dealt with Eric the first time.
How'd
And I was
you
like,
know
oh, yeah, right on. And different
You're-
things come out of it you don't expect.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, there, and the couple of guys that I thought would be somewhat resistant or push back on it, or like, I don't really care about this kind of stuff. These two guys that I thought for sure would give me a little bit of pushback are just on board. Boy, they love it. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
So Jamie, when they're like in the shop talking, are people starting to talk in disc? Oh, he's a D and she's an I, and are they starting to do that? Because once you start hearing that, they're in. They're
Mhm.
all in.
We all do that. We all do
Okay.
that. But yeah, they come back in. They're still trying to figure it out. What's a D, an I, a S, or a C? They're still trying to figure it out. But they are talking like that. It's pretty neat. Yeah, I
Okay.
like it.
Yeah. And then I know you have a plumbing shop, right?
Yes.
So what are you doing? Residential? Are you doing commercial? What do you guys do exactly?
Red and commercial service and repair, and a
Okay.
lot of tenant improvement type things in commercial buildings. And then we residentially. Hang on. Hope I didn't.
No, we can hear you. We can't see.
Yeah, there we go.
Somebody was trying to call me. But residentially, we do a lot of, just a lot of home additions and remodels. It seems lately here we've got asked to do what we would consider high-end projects of housing, a plumbing job in a house for a couple $100,000.
Right.
That's
Yeah. So are the guys getting good at recognizing the client's disc profile once they're in the home yet?
not really in identifying whether it, exactly what they are, but they
Okay.
are aware of, they're trying to understand it. They
Yeah.
just,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty.
It takes time too. I mean, you just got to keep doing it. Takes time, and then all of a sudden they know. Yeah.
Right.
I used to teach our guys that, the first thing when they enter a house to try to figure out if that person like wants to go really fast, like if they're just talking fast and moving fast, well, then they're either a D or an I, so they're speed driven. And then I try to figure out just by asking them just basic questions, whether they're way into tasks or they're into people, and then as soon as you can answer those two questions, what they are, and it takes time, man. How long, Larry, you think it took us before our guys really got it?
It was
6 months to a
it
year.
just depends. No, not even that. A month
No?
or two. Yeah. I mean, because we did it all the time. And Jamie was saying that he did some training with Howard
Oh, cool.
and his guys. So they had some more attention, which was very
Yeah.
good, which is something we might want to do as well, maybe with George or something, because if some of our clients aren't able to, the technicians weren't able to grasp it, I think they might need a little more attention, because it makes a big difference. And Jamie has it's a union shop, correct, Jamie?
Yeah. That's
So
right.
he's got a little different. They're not upselling
Mhm.
necessarily. It's still important to know your client, but they have a different agenda to get the work done and just make them happy. They're not
Sure.
trying to look for anything extra. I mean, they
Well-
do look for things extra, but it's not like they have a different bonus structure. That's what you were explaining to me, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our guys are already paid quite well, and they have full benefits and all those types of things. All I'm trying to do now is, and they were never taught the sales portion of it at all. So I'm actually repositioning myself as I've sold the business off to business partner Adrian, and I am going to stick around in a sales and marketing role. So my goal is to push up those sales and train these guys more into how to sell,
Yeah.
how to look for how to educate. That's what I really want to do. I want
Exactly.
to educate customers into what
Yeah.
it is they need, what I'm finding they need anyway. So yeah.
No, it's great. No, it's good. And then the other thing, I don't know if you got, I'm sorry, I had to take a phone call and stepped out, is how well, I'm
I
sorry.
don't think he had a phone call. I think he had to go rest.
I got a phone call. I'm sorry. I got to take this phone call.
He's got a couple of family things he's dealing with right now. I thought he was going to the can, but that could be it. He could say to his wife, "Yeah, I got the runs." So anyway, yeah, the disc has been helping, hopefully helping everybody very much. Let me ask you guys, what else are you guys getting out of the meeting with your team? What else are they getting out of it that, or not getting out of it, that we could address? What's some of your feedback with the morning tech meeting? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Go ahead. Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, we have scheduled meetings every Friday and Monday. So at each one of those days, I kind of sort of pick and choose through some of the library of videos, and then I'll show a video in the morning on a Monday and a Friday that kind of goes along with what it is that my planned discussion is. So we have a half an hour meeting every Monday and every Friday. There are 9 employees, and I got to say that those guys, they like seeing the video for a couple of reasons. They're hearing not just me talk and explain what it is that I'm wanting as their boss. They're hearing what somebody else has gone through, so that they maybe more relate to the fact that this is not just a business. This is all an issue with every business, not just ours. So I think they relate to that really well. It's gone on. They actually will talk about the meetings afterward or at another day. Hey, remember that meeting we had? And some of them really stand out.
Oh, that's great. That's great feedback.
Yeah, I'm agree 100% with Jamie. Whatever you say is not the last word, but as soon as they hear it from somebody else, has a lot of value.
Yeah,
I agree 100% with you. I always say to my guys my son worked for us. He has 22 years old. And I tell them, the exercise is that if I go and wash the car in front of my house and I show my son how to do it, he's going to be happy, but he still won't be convinced. But as soon as the neighbor come and tell him, hey, Sergio, you can do it like this, he told me, this is like my dad told me, but I think I really like what you just said. That means that this is how this works. Then it's great because it's people who bring all the expectation, all the experience for years in the service business, and then they bring it to a place that you're supposed to be like a local, and now you have an international voice saying what is the right thing to do. I see it like this. This is for me the big value that this thing has. Most of the time I'd say, I live in a small city. We are 150,000 people. A lot of my guys, they don't know a lot of places out of Florida. And I try to make them understand that this word is a big word. Then we have to learn from others. It's a lot of people with a lot of information, and we have to learn from everywhere. If we still want to learn just from here, our mind is going to be empty for a lot of time. Then what happens if we open our minds and our vision and we hear what other people can say and they take advantage of this? This is what I do. I'm really close also to Howard Partridge, and I started with him possible like 8 years ago. And every time that I go to a class, the first thing that I come is to tell them everything that I learned. Then I think it's something that we, like business owner, we have to do it all the time. This is kind of our work, and the purpose of all the investment that we do, not only in money, but in time, to learn from others, is that how we can just communicate everything that we are learning to these people that, by the way, some of them, they don't care. I'm working with the ones that they really care. I'm working with the guys that I see their attitude. I see that they can be changed. I see that they can learn new things. and I don't waste too much time sometimes in the one that they are high C, really good for what they do, but possible not for our meetings.
Well, that's, there's value in that. And, depending on the profile, they can accept things and, do different things with other people, which is a big deal. And you get the serious people that are going to attract it more and they're going to do a better job with it.
Mhm.
So it's very good. Real quick, let me digress real fast. I've got a Facebook group. We're going to post all these things. It's just members only. And I just closed it out the other day. It was Facebook Morning Tech Meeting. And I'm going to invite you guys in there. And the forum that we had with the Morning Tech Meeting hasn't been taking up any legs and not much has been happening. So I'm going to put it on Facebook and see if we can get some communication, because I think us communicating like this would be helpful in a forum that we would visit, because many of us are on Facebook anyway. So we'll see if that works out. And if you would like to be involved, it's going to be something that we can use. And
It'd be
Eric's-
nice to know what you guys want to hear, what you want to talk about, like what things would be the most helpful to your business.
Eric's going to be the moderator. He's going to be on it every minute of the day.
No, I won't.
He's going to be the Facebook king.
Larry's the moderator.
Even in the bicycle, he gonna get some messages.
No.
Yeah. Never can tell. And we
Oh,
got
there's
Jack Harris
Jack.
coming in. Jack from
Sydney, Nebraska.
there you go. Sydney. I should know that. My daughter's name is Sydney. Here we go. I'm gonna try and unmute him. And we'll be all set.
Jack, you there?
Yeah, I think I made it.
How you doing, man?
Wonderful.
Good, thank you. With whatever time, kind of sliding inside with my head on fire, if you know what I mean.
Yep. That's
You
part
guys-
of running a business, right?
You guys busy?
Yeah, we have not got hit with the curse of COVID like a lot of the country has. We're going opposite around here, and not really sure why, but
Good.
Yeah.
Run with it. It's a beautiful
hearing
thing.
that more and more.
So we were going over DISC and how it's been working for everybody. And you've been using the lessons for quite a while with the Tech Whisperer. How has it been working with your guys? Are they responding? Has it communicating better with themselves and clients and yourself?
You know, for you talking to me or just any of us in
Jack.
general?
No, Jack. Yeah. You, Jack.
You.
Yeah. Put
Um,
you on the spot. He's jumped in the room and bam, I'm hitting you.
That'll work.
Sorry.
It's been interesting. The first few months we were thinking, there's that whole adjustment phase and all that stuff. What I love, I just came back from yesterday from kind of a long day of, we have 6 locations and I was at 3 of them. And parts of those meetings have come up in almost every conversation across the board in different moments. And when it came to attending this little conference thing we're doing, the DISC is probably the thing that's got people the most curious, but it's also the most misunderstood.
Okay. So
And,
we need to do a better job of getting them initiated then.
Well, I think some of it's the consistency, and I'm talking probably about maybe half of our techs. We got 25, so probably about half that are on the interested part. And I got probably 4 of those who are kind of super interested, but just the growth is super slow. So we've been at this 10 months and the growth is super slow on their end.
All the technicians or just some?
Say that again.
All of the technicians or just some?
About half.
Okay. What are their disc profiles?
Either D, I, S, or C.
Well, at
Good
least
answer.
You're aware of it. That's for sure.
I have I got probably 4 or 5 of them I've had discussions with. I can tell you their profiles off the top of my head. The rest of them, I have been thinking of doing. Our meetings are primarily via Zoom, right? And then sharing the screen at the beginning of it, especially on Wednesdays. Everybody knows it, and I kind of push that the day before that tomorrow's this day. Pay attention. And they all have emails stating their disc,
Profile.
not the profile, not number, but the two primaries, the highest and the next highest.
Yeah.
Is what I've included on those emails. But what I thought I'd do is create just an image that we'd share on the screen that would have like just the text name, and then if they were a D and a C or whatever. And so every time they're looking up, they have 5 minutes or so when they first click on that, the screen's just on until the meeting starts, and that they could see their name, remember that they're a high I, and then go from there. Just something simple that's repeatable that I don't have to have any effort into for the next 6 months, and see if that helps them identify in a
No, that's good.
relatable way
Yeah.
each week. So
Do you post everybody's disc profile in every location?
no,
That might help.
Yeah, we used to have that on the
but
wall.
like print it off and stick it on a bulletin board or something.
Mhm.
We would just put the questionnaire, the one that they do where they fill out the numbers on it, and we had them all spread out on one wall.
Yeah.
And there was, a dozen of them, depending on
Yeah.
how many people we had at the time.
George,
that-
do you
Yeah,
do
fair
that?
enough.
George, do you do that at your
Yes.
restoration company?
Yes, we do it. The thing is that it's really hard because we have too many people. We have 45 employees, and sometimes to deal with this is so hard. Even for just the videos, to try to keep everybody putting attention is hard. And now with the COVID, obviously, I cannot have too many people together.
Yeah.
Then it is a lot of things that are changing. But my recommendation for you guys is possible if you can do a video possible of 5 minutes, maximum 10 minutes to talk about this, and something that you can just elevate to every single one of your subscribers. Possible is going to be a little bit more of attention to what exactly you are talking about. I'm with Jack. Sometimes, even if you start to talk about this, but you talk about disc every week, and you talk about D one day and S the next day, sometimes the people just get lost because you don't have the consistency in the work. Then if you just tell them, hey, you know what? Part of your exercise this week is that you have to go to the YouTube and you have to see this video. And next week, we're going to talk about it. And then possible you can start to relate everybody with the process. This is my recommendation for you guys.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I think I shot about a 10-minute intro to disc last week.
Mhm.
And Larry, have you sent that out to everybody? Because I was getting the same feedback, George, from lots of people that, guys get hired and then they start watching, but they've never had an introduction, so they don't have any reference point to understand what's going on.
Mhm.
So, Larry, where do they all go find that?
When you log right into the morning tech meeting, it's right there. But many of your guys don't have logons and stuff. So what I'm probably going to do is just put it on a YouTube video and send it out to you guys.
Mhm.
But there is the review that we did, and there's a couple of them there. It's under Q. When you log in, it's right there. Right underneath the, when you click on the library is where all the lessons are. But if you go, as soon as you log in, it's the home screen, and you'll have it all right in front of you.
Yeah. Another recommendation that I have for you is for the, this is what I did in my office. I look for somebody with a really high I profile, and I make this person responsible for the disc in the office. That means that because if we are responsible, we are business owners. Sometimes we are really busy. And if something happened, we're going to go and work and do whatever has to be done. And sometimes we just forget it. Sometimes we just leave it and we say we're going to do it the next week. Instead, if you have one person that is in the office with this kind of profile that always is going to be doing funny things and sending messages and things, you can keep active like the flame of disc in the office. This is my recommendation. I did it and it's working really good. By the way, I'm the high I, and I have to delegate this to somebody else that is a high I too. Then we always are asking, hey, how is everything? Did you send these messages to the people? The new guy, he get the profile already. This is what we do. Then if you have somebody responsible in the office, I think gonna help you tremendously.
But you have to find something for those eyes to do and keep them busy. And keep them out of my
Yes.
hair.
It's called marketing, Jack.
Oh,
They need to be out there delivering high fives. Well, not high fives right now. Candy and coffee.
Donuts.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Jack, I was saying we're gonna have a closed Facebook group that I'll invite you to. That's just gonna be for members only, and I'll post these videos there as well. And that would be helpful. And then I might just text the links as well, if that would be helpful. I don't always text people because they don't always want it. And, it's an email-based service that we have. But I know with me, if you text something to me, it's more, oh yeah, right. And then you can tend to do text quicker, at least I do. And we've passed along stuff like that. We use Slack in a Shamrock, and that's how we pass things along, but it was still directly on your phone in front of you. So that might be an idea. We'll see. But it's all, we've been doing this for a year, so we're trying to get feedback from everybody now. And we get a lot of good feedback. Other questions came in, but I want to slow this down because I don't know if George needs to go or if Jamie need to go. But go ahead.
I don't need to run out quite yet. But.
Okay. Did you have any other feedback, Jack, about the lessons that Eric's giving? I keep telling him he needs to erase the chalkboard a little bit better because you can sometimes see the previous lesson there. And I don't know why he's not neat enough to do that because he's a C anyway, and you figured he'd be able to hang with that. I'm the I, and I want it to look neater.
Well, you're not the one trying to erase it between every video. You want to come be my assistant, Larry, while I film.
To wipe it off properly.
Eric, for a compliment to you, I've been doing the same thing in my board, and as soon as you start to use it too many times, it's hard to remove these things.
Yeah.
That means that it's because you are doing too much that you have a problem.
George is going to be doing
I love the fact that it's a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Everything's a whiteboard, and I love the black background. Obviously, the video thing works good, but that's just cool.
Good.
Well, there's a reason that it's a chalkboard. I'm a whiteboard guy by nature, but when we started videoing, the lights reflect off a whiteboard, so you get the image sucked. So we went to a blackboard.
That works. Oddly enough, one of the first things that it just over my years in the trades and I think it was the first promo I saw. I can't remember if it was on accident or not, but it was the Chuck and Paul, Truck in a Truck,
Paul the Pro
video, and we just went through that. That was when. So on Fridays, oftentimes what I'll do, I have different ones saved and starred in little notes. And then on Fridays, I'll go back and we tried pushing the quiz thing like for maybe like a month, and I dropped it. I was going to blow everything up.
Yeah, just do whatever works. I mean, that's the whole point. Yeah.
And so I sidestep that, and we'll throw different tech tips in. I'll find different things on Fridays. So it's developed a platform, and everybody kind of looks forward to that, but they're looking forward to Fridays. Not that they don't look forward to the rest of the week. It's just always a surprise. And so that's been kind of neat. Sometimes it's a silly video or, whatever, tech tips quite often. But that Chuck in a Truck one yesterday, that was yesterday. We had that. And then I had a variety of things to do around different locations, did that. And everybody commented. I didn't comment to them. That was brought to me.
Oh, and that's great.
Yeah. And of course, everybody's like, I'm Paul the Pro, and here's why.
So what do you think resonates with the technicians with that lesson versus other ones?
I think so much of it, I'm just knee-jerk from my own experience, right? Because that's the one that resonated with me as well. Not the one, there's a bunch of them now, right? But initially, that one popping up. And it was just the idea, it's kind of taking those soft skills, the stuff you can't really get of course, we're a good technician. Otherwise, the company wouldn't have even hired us, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like maybe some stuff our dad should have told us when we were 13 and never did, or.
Well, nobody trained our dad.
Yeah, growth stuff like that we just don't know. And you're like, how could I be 40 and not have put these things in a chronological order in a simple day? I think guys are resonating off that. But there's an appreciation factor to it. It's not just you're doing this right or wrong. It's almost kind of, yeah, that maybe there's a mentorship component to that, it just,
It's interesting that you say that, because that's what
Was.
happened when we started, Eric started lessons with Shamrock, because many of the guys didn't know the things that we were teaching them. We saw that they didn't know that, because many of these techs come from broken homes, from fatherless families, or from situations where they're not getting the attention one way or another. And not to put a label on anything, but they just didn't get it. So now they're being given this mentorship. And I liked how you said that. It's an online mentorship. I always say that you hire yourself a coach for your technicians, but in a way, I like that sounds a little bit better.
I mean, we realized in our service business that, you know, Larry and I were just like everybody else. We'd complain that the technicians didn't know this and nobody taught them that, and the school system failed them and their family failed them and everybody failed them. And now we're, you know, why is it up to us to fix them? And once we realized, well, it is what it is. So it's up to us to fix it. We can either have them broken or we can fix them, right? So that's how the whole morning tech meeting thing started to begin with, because I was sick of complaining about guys going and, you know, doing things wrong in a house, you know, because that causes callbacks and angry clients and all the things that none of us like. And, you know, Jack, the mentorship thing is a key point, because once we started doing that, then they started really buying into our company, because we're the first people that have really put a lot of effort into them. You know, a lot of the guys who are in the trades, and I mean, I'm the same way, right? I wasn't a great student. Nobody at school was telling me I'm awesome. I barely made it out, you know? And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you've got a company who's investing in them, and, you know, the lessons you can use not only at work, but outside of work too, especially DISC. So that changes the dynamic for them. It really is mentorship on some level, especially if you guys take the lesson, but then you guys keep talking about it as managers. Like, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard on the podcast, Larry and I told the story about how we got in a cash crunch because we had done like a whole bunch of big jobs. Guys owed us tons of money and things were getting tight. And we stopped doing the lessons after like a year and a half, 2 years, because we're just like, we don't have the money to pay for the lesson at the moment, you know, like we're tight. And Larry was like, we got to stop this lesson. They already know everything. You've been teaching them for 2 years. So we stopped the lesson, and it blew up in our face so quickly, because they basically revolted, because we just took away one of their favorite parts of working there, the fact that we're investing in them. And we had to eat crow like 2 weeks later and say, look, guys, sorry, we're never doing this again. We do care about you, because the upsells stopped. The engagement stopped. The callbacks started coming like they used to, because what did we told them? Well, we don't value you. We value the money more, or whatever. And I think too many guys they overlook the fact that if you invest in your field technicians, how much they actually care about that, even if they don't show it overtly. I don't know if you guys see that. We certainly saw it.
Yeah, we see it here.
Yeah.
We see it. The meetings are awesome. The Monday morning, Friday morning meetings we have, where we put you up there for 5 or 7 minutes. You're the movie star.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Larry? I'm gonna use that, Jamie. Just so you know, I'm gonna use that on Larry every day for the next month.
Words, you.
You're gonna have to get him a pair of Jack Nicklaus sunglasses or something. Jack Nicholson sunglasses.
Something that you guys may be very, very used to and normal, but we're just becoming used to. Up to just a month ago, all of our techs were on their tablets out at their individual jobs and on Zoom, and that they do the morning meeting right there, kind of on their own. Here in Sydney, we've moved to a different building and stuff this summer, and we got our crew room up and going, put a screen up on the wall, and I actually go in there, bring everybody in, and all technicians wise and such, and if like warehouse manager and a few others, we bring those in there and we do the morning meeting in that room. And it eliminated we've had an obvious problem with the camaraderie because nobody wants to talk on Zoom. They're just like,
Right.
sign in, sign off, whatever. And that has been the coolest change. There's been a few of them. We've had some technical difficulties and then COVID stuff and had a secretary not able to be in, that type of thing. So I wasn't in the room. I switched around and I had to actually run it from my office computer. So I'd run it from in there, but nobody, a few of those days, none of our other managers were in there. It was just technicians. And so nobody to kind of corral the troops. That was fascinating to not be in there, just have those dozen guys, and then to have them talking about the content they were just, and I realized I'm like, us managers are getting in the way a lot.
Yes.
Not shutting up and letting some of so I was able to just hit pause and I muted everybody else on the thing and left that one open and just let it go for 5-6 minutes. So we're learning and growing, but we haven't had that camaraderie part of stuff. It's always been through the Zoom application.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we're missing a lot, and we're still growing in it. And we continue to be fascinated.
And even if you can't, I mean, I know how spread out you guys are because I've been at your shop, but
Mhm.
I mean, even if you could meet a certain amount of days where everybody comes, I mean, once a month or twice a month or something, that would go a long way too, probably. And then what we used to do was we used to pick an employee. Like I would do the lesson just like you guys see on the video. I'd do it on a whiteboard in person for those guys. And then I would step away and then call on somebody to lead the discussion about the lesson. That's kind of how I did what you're just talking about, Jack. You know, I just look and say, okay, you know, Susie, you're running the guys. Go. I'd step away, and then they would have that conversation. We'd be there, but we wouldn't say anything. We'd let them have it, you know. And those were some of the best days because that's when you can really see who's owning it and who's not.
Mhm.
Because they would help each other. One of the guys would be up and the other uncomfortable. So they'd help by contributing and it would just create a conversation.
And then another thing we did was because we didn't have a quiz day in our own shop. Fridays, Jack, were more like yours. What we would do, a lot of times we would do safety lessons on Fridays or something similar to that. And then we would pick a different person every week from the team to have to go lead the entire meeting. Larry and I would be in the background. We wouldn't talk at all because we like that because even if, you know, they weren't great at it, it was kind of some speaking in public practice or, you know, it was good for them to learn how to speak to clients. And I mean, to stand up in front of 20, 30 people is hard for anybody, even if you know them all, you know? So we used to do that. And I think that helped with their people skills and their confidence speaking to clients as well. So that might be something that, you know.
And they knew it wasn't going to be long. They knew it was going to be quick because they had to get out of
5
there.
minutes.
Yeah. So it'd be news. So it was like pressure that they knew they'd be out of there quick. There wouldn't be as much panic. Sometimes there'd be deer in headlights. They didn't know what to say, but you know.
Wow. All right.
So you guys, George here in one of your corners has been helping us. He's doing the morning lessons in Spanish. So he's the Spanish tech whisperer at this point.
Nice.
So we're looking forward to having that rolling out soon.
Yeah. So
And,
this year we'll be unveiling morning tech meeting in Spanish with George. George he's just certified. He's got tons of coaching. He was in our Howard Partridge group with us. George, didn't you and I meet at Reed's Drying Academy? I think that's where we met.
No, we met the first time that we went to Houston and we went to Howard store. I think this is the first time that I see you.
Okay. So,
And, since there we are, and I'm the first customer of this company. Then don't forget that.
George is the first morning tech meeting customer.
Client, yeah, first client.
First client ever.
They got me running out of the bathroom in Las Vegas. And
Yeah,
they
we hit him
got
up
me
there.
there.
We hit him up in the hallway before the show even started.
I didn't even have a breakfast and they already charged me. This is how this works.
Trade shows, a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
now that I hear that some of you, they hear about Howard, Another thing that possible you don't have in consideration, Eric and Larry, I say it is because a lot of the things that you are teaching in your segments is something that we are teaching to our guys for years.
Yeah.
Then if you go and you run one of these videos, and sometimes you go and talk with them, they say, oh, but how many times you say this here in the office? 50 times? Yeah, but the 51 is the one that you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
make our life easier. The idea is that you come to reinforce everything that we are doing daily.
Yeah.
Then, you know, I think Jamie said at the beginning that I think has a lot of value, that this information come to support everything that we are already doing.
Yeah.
And obviously they bring things like that we don't have in consideration. I think the ad sales is something that the people don't use it too often because, you know, a lot of, like Jamie say, you know, you don't have a lot of salespeople selling outside, and your technicians are more professional in high skills of what they do. But when you start to hear about the ad sales and how to help the customers and how to be an educator and all these things, is something that you, especially the people who come from other businesses, they don't hear. They tell their needs, I don't know what you're going to do, but you have to sell, because if you don't get these goals, then you have to go. When you don't have this kind of way to do businesses, then they feel more confident just to be the educator, because nobody is telling, hey, you know what, this is what you have to do. I think it's a lot of information that possible you don't get it at the beginning, but the guys with all this repetition, they are getting it. Now that I'm doing all your videos, you know, daily, I realized that all the information has more value of the one that I was seeing just like one of your friends buying the program has a lot of more value, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think the last thing is I'm probably saying in the video the same things you guys say to them all the time, but they don't know me.
Yeah. And they're better off.
There's some distance. So they, yeah. No, but you know, it's like when your dad tells you something, you don't listen. But then when, you know, the friend of the dad tells you something, you go, oh, that's genius. You know, so,
Go, Jamie, you were going to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what I was going to add a little bit more to what George was saying is that when they, what we talked about this week anyway, yesterday, was that if I can provide, my guys are very technical. They know what they're doing. The problem is they just don't know how to share that technical information with the customer. So that educating the customer part is really difficult. And what makes part of their job really, really difficult is that they feel like if somebody's watching them, or that they maybe they're fearful of doing something wrong. What they don't understand is that they are the guys that know what's going on. They know exactly. That's why they hired them to come out and come do the job. And when you say, well, let me just say, when I am trying to give them more of an education in each aspect of their job, so that they're not feeling uncomfortable when a customer comes over and asks them a particular question about what it is that they're doing. It give them a little bit better comfort in security. Like, I know what I'm doing because I know everything about the trades. I know everything about how to fix this thing. And they just need to have more confidence. So George, what you were saying is, when somebody, like, it doesn't matter how much I try to teach them, when Eric teaches them things on that video, oh, they somehow all of a sudden it's like a magnet. They
shine.
Love
Absolutely.
it. It really, it really works great. So Eric, you're not the prettiest face, but you're doing a good job.
Thanks, man. I'll take that. I already know.
You just messed it up. I told them
I get told that every day.
I think this is one of the things that has more value, is that look like somebody who is part of your group is teaching you something. It's not a star. It's not somebody with a tie and in a nice environment. No, it's somebody in front of a board with a chalkboard doing something simple and practical. This is what I see when I do it in Spanish. at the beginning was too hard because I was talking with Eric. I'm trying to say everything that he said, but at the same time, I realized, I have to say things that the Hispanic people gonna understand different, and I have to use also my terms and the way, and I start to remove a little bit of this pressure and start to work really better. Is before I used to try like 1 hour before I do one. Now I could possibly take only 30 minutes, but it's done. That means that I think this is another great thing is that look like somebody from your own team is telling you something. By the way, you have a counselor or a consultant or whatever, how you going to call it, that is go to your office every single week to tell you something that you're going to learn about,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Yeah. Well,
Guys, I really appreciate it. I love everybody, but I have another meeting that I'm late already.
All right, George.
Then
we'll talk to you
what's a
soon.
pleasure to meet you, Jamie and Jack.
Yeah,
And I wish you good luck. The other guys, I have to see them too often. Then I don't want to tell them too many things. I hope you
All right,
have
George.
a nice day, and thank
We'll
you
talk to you
again for
soon.
inviting me. Huh? Okay,
Yeah, George.
thanks, George. I appreciate it.
Bye.
bye.
Take care. Thanks.
Yeah, we've got to take off as well. We're jumping around. Do you guys have any other feedback for us in the meantime before we take off?
Now, one real quick thing, Jack, what's your line of work
Plumbing, heating, cooling.
and where are you at?
Sydney, Nebraska. It's in the panhandle of Nebraska.
Okay. Cause I'm a plumbing contractor also, but we're out in San Jose, California.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah,
should
whole different
exchange. That's one of the things we want to do, guys, coming in 2021 with the Facebook group. And we're going to try to do something like this once a month. I mean, this was the first one, so it was maybe not as organized as we'd like, but we want to build a community where everybody's talking to each other so that they can be better. I mean, you two guys can probably relate to each other better than Larry and I can because we're water damage guys. I mean, if you have specific plumbing stuff,
Yeah.
probably be good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well-
for sure. I think that'll be a good step. I don't know how I'm not on Facebook or social media stuff, so I'll figure it out. My wife
Either-
does it for me and feeds me what I need to know.
There you
Neither
go.
are, we don't do the Facebook thing either.
Dude, I wish I
Yeah.
could be there with you. we have to market on Facebook. so-
We have the forum that's on the website, but a lot of, morning tech meeting
Yeah,
site.
we
it
have a
hasn't been-
forum built into Morning Tech Meeting, but
It just
when we were
hasn't.
posting early
Yeah,
on,
I've seen of that.
nobody really goes there. So
So we're
I
just
don't
going
know.
to switch
Larry,
over.
maybe we should take a survey and see where people would like to see it.
That morning tech meeting thing that when I bring it up here, I mean, I get all kinds of weird things. There's some things I can't get into. There's no content. And in other things, it's in a language that I don't even understand. It's certainly not Spanish or
Huh.
English. And then hell, I was watching one just a minute ago, and it's when I went in to try to go into this live session, it started showing a video of some guy cutting up a fish. So
Yeah, I don't know. I looked at the picture that you sent me. I'm not sure what it was.
yeah, it's weird.
That is strange.
Q&A when I go into Q&A, right? And well, that's what happened. That's what comes up.
Yeah, we'll look into that, Jamie.
Yeah,
Sorry
I'll take a
about
look at it. And I'm going to be up in San Francisco. I'm hoping to catch up with you this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at a couple things if you're having issues.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
that. All right.
thanks for your time today.
See you guys.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice to
Appreciate
see you
it.
both.
Thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
hanging out. We'll see you guys.
You
Take
guys.
care.
Bye.